Let's get back to it. What is the two-doctrine policy? Well, the two-doctrine policy is the idea of holding two doctrines simultaneously to mislead and misdirect so that the true aims and ambitions remain concealed. You hold two beliefs, one revealed and one concealed. One esoteric, or inner core beliefs and actions, the other exoteric, or outward pretended beliefs and actions. One set of beliefs for the inner circle and another set for the masses. This plays out in certain initiation, rites, and rituals. What you're allowed to know is based on whether you're initiated or uninitiated. As Albert Pike in Morals and Dogma puts it, he says, the Templars, like all secret orders and associations, had two doctrines, one concealed and reserved for the masters, which was Johannism, and the other public, which was Roman Catholic. Thus, they deceived the adversaries whom they sought to supplant. They also adopted St. John the Evangelist as one of its patrons, associated with him in order to not arouse the suspicions of Rome. St. John the Baptist, and thus covertly proclaiming itself the child of the Kabbalah and Essenism together. Or as Jim Marrs in his book Rule by Secrecy puts it, he says, there's always existed an external elementary popular doctrine, which has served for the instruction of the masses who are insufficiently prepared for deeper teaching. There has been an interior, advanced doctrine, a more secret knowledge, which has been reserved for the riper minds and into which only proficient and properly prepared candidates who voluntarily sought to participate in it were initiated. Or as Charles Berger put it in Our Phallic Heritage, he says, thus symbols came to have two meanings, the esoteric and the exoteric. The esoteric meaning was the true original meaning, understood by only a few and closely guarded by them. The exoteric meaning was invented or modified explanation intended for the many. The sacred mysteries, which are often mentioned in connection with many ancient religions in which were closely guarded by the initiate, concealed the esoteric meaning in the religions of previous times. Or as Manly Palmer Hall puts it, he's known as the Mason of the Century by a Scottish Rite Journal in 1990. He wrote the Lectures on Ancient Philosophy, a companion to the Secret Teaching of All Ages, page 433, says, Freemasonry is a fraternity within a fraternity, an outer organization concealing an inner brotherhood of the elect. Before it is possible to intelligently discuss the origin of the craft, it is necessary to establish the existence of these two separate yet interdependent orders, the one visible, the other invisible. The visible society is a splendid camaraderie of free and accepted men enjoined to devote themselves to ethical, educational, fraternal, patriotic, and humanitarian concerns. The invisible society is a secret and most august fraternity whose members are dedicated to the service of the mysterious Arcanum Arcanorum. What is the Arcanum Arcanorum? Before we get into that, stay up to date with everything Iconic by following us on all of our social media. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel and like our videos. To support us, you can go to patreon.com/theiconicpodcast and make a monthly pledge. You can also go to theiconiclabel.com and purchase a hoodie, a hat, or a t-shirt. So let's get back to it. What is the Arcanum Arcanorum? Well, it is said to be the mystery of mysteries, specifically the one ultimate secret supposed to lie behind all astrology, alchemy, and magic. In En route to Global Occupation by Gary H. Kye, quotes Albert Pike in Morals and Dogma, page 107, and says, the initiates, in fact, thought in the 18th century that their time had arrived, some to found a new hierarchy, others to overturn all authority and to press down all the social order under the level of equality. Toward this end, a new ultra-secret society was formed, enlisting in its ranks members from the highest degrees of the Masonic order. This order within an order would come to be known as the Illuminati. Or in Morals and Dogma, where Pike says, Masonry, like all the religions, all the mysteries, Hermeticism, and alchemy, conceals its secrets from all except the adepts and sages, or the elect, and uses false explanations and misrepresentations of its symbols to mislead those who deserve only to be misled, to conceal the truth, which it calls light, from them and to draw them away from it. Truth is not for those who are unworthy or unable to receive it or would pervert it. On page 132, he says, the Holy Kabbalah, or the tradition of the children of Seth, was carried from Chaldea by Abraham, taught to the Egyptian priesthood by Joseph, recovered and purified by Moses, concealed under symbols in the Bible, revealed by the Savior to St. John, and contained entire in hieratic figures analogous to those of all antiquity and the apocalypse of that apostle. Manly P. Hall in The Secret Teaching of All Ages puts it on page 763, says, the arcana of the ancient mysteries was never revealed to the profane except through the media of symbols. Symbolism fulfilled the dual office of concealing the sacred truths from the uninitiated and revealing them to those qualified to understand the symbols. Forms are the symbols of the formless, divine principles. Symbolism is the language of nature. With reverence, the wise pierce the veil, and with clearer vision, contemplate the reality. But the ignorant, unable to distinguish between false and the true, behold a universe of symbols. Further down, he says, they realize that nations come and go, that empires rise and fall, and that the golden ages of art, science, and idealism are succeeded by the dark ages of superstition. With the needs of posterity foremost in mind, the sages of old went to inconceivable extremes to make certain that their knowledge should be preserved. They engraved it upon the face of mountains and concealed it with the measurements of colossal images, each of which was a geometric marvel. So why do this? Well, on page 142, we get the answer. So Masonry jealously conceals its secrets and intentionally leads conceited interpreters astray. Page 112. Because the vile multitudes are not worthy of such knowledge, it says, in fact, what can there be in common between the vile multitude and sublime wisdom? The truth must be kept secret, and the masses need a teaching proportion to their imperfect reason. On page 302, he says, therefore the sages always had an esoteric creed, taught only to the mysteries and the unknown to the vulgar. No sage in their country or in Greece or Rome believed the popular creed. To them, the gods and the idols of the gods were symbols of the great and mysterious truths. On page 305, he says, before our era dispersed most of the priests in Greece and elsewhere, they bore with them their sciences, and they continued to teach enigmatically, that is to say, ever enveloped in the obscurities of fables and hieroglyphs, to the end that the vulgar herd, seeing, may see nothing, and hearing might comprehend nothing. Page 638, he says, the truth was covered from the common people, as with a veil, and the mysteries were carried into every country that, without disturbing the popular beliefs, truth, the art, and the sciences may be known to those who are capable of understanding them, and that maintaining the true doctrine incorrupt, which the people, prone to superstition and idolatry, have no age been able to do. So who is the God of those who pursue these mysteries, who perpetuate this two-doctrine policy? The outer doctrine is the God of Pantheism, where the inner core doctrine is the doctrine of Luciferianism. In his book, En Route to Global Occupation, Gary H. Koss says on page 69, the religion of the New Age, simply put, is pantheism, the belief that God is the sum of all that exists. According to the pantheists, there is no personal God. Instead, their concept of God consists of what they refer to as the God force or the life force. They teach that this energy or God force flows through all living beings, plants, animals, and human beings. Since this God force flows through all of us, they rationalize, we must therefore be gods, or at least part of God. Because of this, most pantheists will automatically support the concept of a one-world government, since global unity is essential to the proper flow of the God force. Humanity will then, presumably, take a quantum leap to a higher level of existence. The result will be that all humans will suddenly receive mystical powers to do what they could never do before. A new age of enlightenment, a new world order will be born. So why pantheism, though? Harmonization. According to Albert Pike, as he puts it in Morals and Dogma, page 849, this is the middle ground between the two doctrines of pantheism, or that all is God, and God is in all and is all, on the one side, and atheism, or that all is nature, and there is no other God, on the other, which doctrines, after all, when reduced to their simplest terms, seem to be the same. Because pantheism comprises all religions, they can say yes to all gods, goddesses, or no gods at all, because the use of the generic term God also can just mean the God force or the forces of nature. And so it pleases the religious and the non-religious at the same time. Back to En Route to Global Occupation by Gary H. Koss, page 73, he states, Pantheism originated in the ancient city of Babylon in Mesopotamia, and from there it spread rapidly in all directions to cover the face of the earth. Hinduism is one of the offshoots of the original Babylonian pantheism, and Buddhism is an offshoot of Hinduism. All the Eastern religions of today are ultimately traceable to ancient Babylon, where the post-flood rebellion against God began. The nation of Israel was completely surrounded by these occult societies. To the west were the Egyptian mysteries, also known as the mysteries of Osiris, out of which God had delivered the Israelites. To the south were the Arabian mysteries. To the east were the Babylonian and Persian mysteries, respectively known as the mysteries of Semiramis and the Mithric mysteries, or Zoroastrianism. To the north were the Assyrian and Phoenician mysteries, including Baal worship, and later the mysteries of Greece and Rome, referred to as the mysteries of Eleusis or Dionysus or Bacchus. All of these pantheistic religions at their base were the same and were traceable to ancient Babylon at the time of Nimrod. Page 74, he says, all the ancient mysteries, for example, had an occult priesthood, which ruled the country or empire in association with an appointed priest king. In order to enter the priesthood, one always had to go through a series of secret occult rituals and initiations. When an initiate reached a high level or inner circle of the priesthood, the secret doctrine was revealed. It always included the worship of Lucifer, or more frequently referred to as the mysteries of the god of Hades, or the god of the underworld, or usually symbolized by a serpent or a dragon. In the mysteries, there was a technique that was used to achieve altered states of consciousness that allowed the hierarchy to communicate their plans to human beings. These techniques were revealed only to the most initiated inner core group. Ka continues, he says, the techniques for achieving these states were once the deepest, best kept secrets of high priests. Later, they would be kept alive and carried forward by secret societies. Within the past generation, however, the same techniques or variations of these techniques have made it into the mainstream of Western society. The demonic spirits with whom these priests communicated become the gods and goddesses of the mystery religions. Traditionally, the Theosophical Society has been at the forefront of the movement, playing an important role in conditioning humanity to accept the New World Order. The organization has produced many of the widely read occult classics, such as The Destiny of the Nations, The Reappearance of the Christ, Discipleship of the New Age, The Secret Doctrine, written by the Society's founder, Helena Petrovna Blavatsky. Throughout history of the secret societies, they perpetuate these ideas in a two-doctrine policy where you have the outer doctrines for the masses and the inner core doctrines for the adepts. And so outwardly, the doctrine that is taught to the masses is the universal God of Pantheism. Since the New Age movement is the religion of the New World Order and the outward doctrine is Pantheism, well, we know they have a secret doctrine. So the question becomes, what is that secret doctrine?